Well, good evening. This is the Houndog coming to you on the 23rd of October 2017. And this is just kind of like a vlog, whatever you want to call it, and a sort of catch up. And of course, it is the eve of my 64th birthday. Oh my God. I thought I would never get to be 64. Trust me, it's a strange feeling. And so anyway, I thought I would give you like a bit of a, maybe a bit of a personal touch and catch you up to some of the things that are going on in my life right now. And as you can see, I came home this afternoon and I found that my kitchen cabinets had been installed. So take a little look at that as we're rolling through. It's such a pleasure to get this finally done because my kitchen, it's the last place in this house to do, and it's been a real chore. Okay, so I am quite busy, quite active in my day-to-day life. Of course, I do work. I run a barber shop here in Bobcaygeon. I'm also on the Bobcaygeon Farmers Market Committee. I'm the secretary for that group, and I've been there since its inception, I can know, a year after the inception. And we're now 6 years into a local farmers market in town, and I think that that is really incredibly community building. We have a 100-kilometre radius that you can bring food in from, so there are no resellers allowed at the market. So this is a great boost for local farmers, and you know, having a farmers market in the village really builds community because it brings those elements together: the farmers, the growers, and the purchasers, the consumer. And I think this is a wonderful connection to be made. So one of my little interests has been going on for a few years now. I am part of a group, and there it is, Citizens for Direct Democracy. Okay, where your voice is always heard, where your vote always counts. And part of that is basically trying to bring this concept to the municipality. I'm not sure how it would play out in the provincial level and the national level, the federal level, although they do this in Switzerland, and it works quite well. They've been doing it since 1821, I believe, even though even before that there was a loose form of direct democracy taking place, and their entire nation is governed by direct democracy. And so we are working to get some councillors elected in the next election and possibly replace the mayor. We want to get as many people on council as we can to bring this idea forward, because we really feel that the public have been left out of the decision-making loop for far too long. We're into domination by bureaucracy, and it has become so overbearing. You know, we spend 50% of our tax dollars is spent on staffing, and senior staff then take 25% of that and respend it on consultation and contracting out of different services. And so the people who cause the messes and need to hire more people to clean up those messes are the ones we're paying the most. So this is not a good situation. The bureaucracy has taken over. It's almost impenetrable, and it is going to take a strong council with a lot of will to actually change this situation and straighten it up, because we are basically being strangled by bureaucracy. And I'm not talking about the men and women, boys and girls that do the work out there, ploughing snow, doing the front desk work where they actually communicate with the public, that kind of stuff. No, those people are not a problem. Let's separate this. We always will have some staffing costs, of course, to get jobs done, but this consulting out, this paying of people who are qualified as a consultant in and of their own right. In fact, we have a head of the economic department who has a PhD in economics, and yet he managed to, excuse me, he managed to consult out $16,000 of fees in the first quarter of this year to write the 10-year economic plan for the city. This guy's a PhD. We have all the staff within the city to do any of the manual part of that, but the nuts and bolts and the layout and that kind of stuff, he can do in his sleep. Why are we hiring? Why are we consulting this stuff out? Who knows? Anyway, that's what we're all about. We're trying to get people interested in helping out, in joining us for the next election. Anybody who wants to run for council in the city of Quarter Lakes, you can please contact us. I will leave you the information at the end of the video, and also below in the description box, so that you can contact us and come to our meetings if you want to. But I think we've reached a critical mass. You know, it is imperative that we act now and change the direction that these municipalities seem to be going in through amalgamation, through central planning. You know, we have people in place now in senior management in City of Quarter Lakes, and I'm sure every level of government, okay, who came through university and graduated when the central planning mantra was at its strongest. We thought that the whole concept of central planning would never ever fail. And here we are. Eaton's collapsed. Sears has collapsed for exactly those reasons. And government is actually in a state of slow collapse because it can't change from central planning to a decentralized kind of system or organization. Okay, so why did Eaton's collapse? Okay, so Eaton's had a central processing place down in, order processing place down in Toronto. And all of the things that Eaton sold came into that one area. They were loaded onto Eaton's trucks, and then they were shipped out to the various stores, whatever they'd ordered, whatever the demand was, etc., etc. But I mean, I heard a story of a chap in Nova Scotia, and not 17 miles down the road was a Cameco washer and dryer manufacturing plant. And Eaton sold Cameco products, but the factory had to ship to Toronto, where it was reshipped back out to the store. Now, can you see how inefficient that is? So we have all of these engineers, all of these people, all of this level of higher management have this schooling and this belief, and they can't quite accept that the era of central planning is over. So I am basically investing my time and interest in the community. I just went to an Ontario landowners meeting. This is the Ontario Landowners Association, and they are helping people, rural people, taking back their power through common law. And so they have discovered the Crown Land Patents, and I have made a few videos about Crown Land Patents. And the more and more I hear about them, the more powerful it turns out that they actually are, that no land can be owned in Canada without the deed. And in my particular case, actually, when I did a title search, I can trace that deed back from my name right the way back to the original owner and the issuance of the Crown Land Patent. So I have absolutely proof of title and a chain of title, because we just found out that the Ontario Land Registry Office has been sold to a private company. And of course, Equifax has had a huge hack, and so we've had land titles have gone missing, and somebody has lost their property. It's actually several people, but one person who spoke at the Landowners Association, and I am just making a video about that talk. His mother lost the title to her property, and she basically died not owning the property that she had lived all her life on and spent all of her money investing in, and that was sold out from under her feet. Okay, so this is the dangers when your government decides to do long-term harm for short-term benefit, for that short-term payment which goes into the coffers of the government to pay off debt or whatever it is, to pay increased salaries, all that kind of stuff. So yes, there's a lot of exciting times, my friend, exciting times, and that's why I am really pleased to be acting as chairperson for the Citizens for Direct Democracy, and trying to bring about that within our community. So other than that, I have been busy in my garden. Of course, we're getting into the fall now, and so I've been tidying up that side of things, getting ready for that dreaded S word coming down. And so to that end, I was actually in to the council today, into the offices, to get the policy on snow ploughing during the winter, because I had quite a hassle last year, because they wouldn't plough the parking lots in front of my business, and they gave every excuse in the book, and this is a safety issue, and so anyways, it's going to be, I'm sure, quite interesting, because I think I'm taking my camera into the head of works office to interview him about this, because it is completely dissatisfactory. These are guidelines, okay, and when safety is a priority, then safety must be obeyed. Okay, so this is a safety issue, and we're going to have to resolve this, and it's just sad. You see, this is one of the reasons that direct democracy is doing what it's doing, and why we're trying to run our own councillors onto the council to try and change all of this, is that what's happening in front of my place is a no-brainer. But this guy, the head of works, has got his head stuck in the rule book. And of course, because we are speaking out about council and some of their practices, of course, they've got a bit of a hard-on for us, and so I'm sure this is partially payback for speaking out. And nobody said speaking out was going to be easy, but speaking out is what we are going to continue doing, because, yeah, it's very important that we change the direction. I mentioned that before. So I was over this evening to my friends. We just made another couple of videos, and one is on property taxes, and the other one is a brief history of direct democracy, and we sort of go back right the way to the beginning, to Greek times, where this really began, in the agoras, the marketplace. And so our world really is about community. And I am about community and bringing people together and reaching agreement, and so that we can all live in relative harmony with each other, and we can all get a slice of the cake. And I think that's possible. I think that is possible. And I think that everyone, no matter what their station or backgrounds or lifestyle, has a right to participate and say in the way the municipality is run, the way they live. Where they live, and the way they live is part of their decision-making process, and we have been taken out of that equation. And that's been a slow process of attrition, and it's been done so subtly that it's really only when you run into a situation and you go down to council and you take, you try and do a delegation, that you realise how far away from the process you are, and how backward thinking the process is sometimes when you try to make what you think are just simple changes, and all of a sudden you're into all kinds of problems that you never even thought existed. So basically, I am feeling elated right now at some of the things that I'm seeing taking place in the world. And one of them especially has been the outing of Harvey Weinstein. Okay, this creature has been basically predating on women for years. I see that there are two directors, although I'd never heard of them. They're to do with in Quebec, but they have preemptively resigned. And then I saw there was another director, James Toback, and he directed the film Pickup Artist and Bugsy. He has now 32 accusations against him for predating on women, and this all comes under the hashtag #MeToo. Okay, and apparently there have been 12 million responses on their fingering their bosses, talking about experiences they had in the past, and it's an utter disgrace. Okay, and I empathize and sympathize, and my heart goes out to all of you who have been abused by these kind of people. But one thing I would like to point out is that, and I don't want us to lose sight of this, because I know that it is a terrible thing that this has been happening to women, but you have to remember that this is seen through a woman's lens, and of course sexuality is one of the weaknesses. You know, we are a reproducing being, and so there is a natural attraction between men and women. Okay, so when there is power involved, that is usually how it's exercised over women, some kind of favour, sexual favour or something like that. However, those people that Harvey Weinstein, like I've worked for people like Harvey Weinstein, okay, and because men's vulnerabilities are different, the power structure is different. So you know, you kind of get things, in my experience is you go into the boss's office with an issue and he says, "Hey Steve, you like your job? You know, I know you just bought that new car, and you know, you just got a girlfriend there, and boy oh boy, what about those kids, that alimony payment you got to make? So if you don't like what you see, you've got two choices. You can put up with it, or there's the door." Because that is a man's vulnerability, a man's ability to support himself and his family. Okay, so these people, you know, it's not just a woman's thing, I guess is what I'm saying. You know, these people are in positions, it's a power thing. These people who are in positions of power exercise that power over everybody. They are predatory. Okay, and their predation does not stop at women. So although I don't want to draw away from these women who have been abused by this, and I'm sure many, many, many other people in positions of power, I also don't want to lose sight of the fact that these people don't just predate on women, they predate on everybody. Okay, and I don't think women are as much like that when they're in positions of power. And in fact, you know, I mean, this might be one of the things, you know, one of the reasons why you don't see women up in those higher positions of power is because all of the stuff that goes along with it. You know, you have to ignore people like Harvey Weinstein when you get up to his level. You can't suddenly out this guy if you are another director or a producer, or you're moving in those circles, because those circles are riddled with Harvey Weinsteins. I wouldn't want to work there. There's no doubt about that. I could not work alongside those people. I could not work with those people. I could not condone those people, because as you're probably noticing, I'm the kind of guy, I just can't keep my big mouth shut. When I see shit like that, I just got to say something, because if you don't speak up, you're agreeing with it. You're condoning it. Okay, there is a word in law called precision, Prision. Okay, and that is when you see something that you know is wrong and you don't say anything. Okay, so I am glad this is coming out, and I think Harvey Weinstein is going to be a linchpin. Okay, this is, you get a big, mountain of apples or fruit piled up, and you just take that one piece of fruit, and the whole thing collapses. I think you're going to see all kinds of people now coming forward and resigning to preempt the Twitter storm. I think this is going to lead back to Jeffrey Epstein, again, which would include Bill Clinton, which would include Jimmy Savile, which would include British royalty. This goes far and wide. Okay, and Harvey Weinstein has started a storm. The 12 million people coming forward, and the more people that come forward, they will encourage others who are maybe scared to, or have been scared to in the past, and this is a good thing. Right now, I think that society is coughing up a bone. Okay, and we have to endorse that. Now, I don't believe in blaming people who just for the sake of jumping on the bandwagon, of course. I would hate to see any innocent men get maligned or caught up, in a witch hunt kind of situation. But at the same time, I encourage all women to come forward and speak out. And I think you'll find that most of us guys feel like that. Most of my friends feel that way, where we have no sense of competition with women or our partners or in life or in the workplace. No, we're looking at a select few people in positions of power who abuse everybody. Men, women, people of colour, indigenous. Just look at the history books. The history books are riddled with examples of these kind of people who predate on all of us. And I hope that feminists can extend that to men, and that we all drop this notion of coming from a position of privilege. Because many men, have just, we're all in that same boat. Okay, we're all fighting the man and trying to put food on the table and get along with our friends and neighbours, and that we are not the oppressors. Okay, we are allies. And I hope that you will reach out and treat us as such, with instead of with this angry thing I'm seeing. It's that angry thing. You just, it makes it very, very difficult to talk to an angry person who is lumping in everybody in a particular group and blaming them all, and taking it out on those who actually are accessible and are more than likely are their allies rather than their oppressors. So I hope we can all think about that and bear that in mind. But yes, in general, I am pretty elated with the way things are going. I hate to say this because I know a lot of you really don't like Donald Trump, and what can I say? I think everything that you possibly can say about Donald Trump has been said by everyone and anyone. But what I'm seeing, as I sort of pull back a little bit, from the emotional stuff about Donald Trump, here is a guy who has turned the world on its ear, and it has woken everybody up. He's broken the dream. He's broken the bubble. And I think sometimes, I think it's been proven in history, that it is sometimes good to review the practices that we have adopted and have become commonplace. And when you don't review them on a regular basis and refresh them, they become stagnant and corrupted. Okay, and I think we're seeing this. I think this is the tip of the iceberg with Harvey Weinstein. We're seeing this bone is going to come out. And it is a WebBot hit. Cliff High talked about this. He said there was going to be very many notable celebrities from Hollywood. Many that you would be so surprised at, who are caught up in this pedophilic, sexual abuse, power over people issue. So I am definitely going to be keeping an eye on that. I'm going to be doing a lot more indoors this winter. I've got some more work to do in my kitchen, of course, and but I am going to be starting a book. I've decided to write a book called The Jewish Business Secrets, and these are stories from my landlord, who is an old Polish Jew, an incredibly wise man, and he has taken me under his wing, and over the years he has shown me what are the hitherto unknown Jewish business secrets. So I'm going to give you one or two little teasers about that as we go down the road. I don't know whether that name will be allowed at the end of the day, because who knows, everyone's pretty sensitive, but I really mean that in the highest sense of a compliment, because he is a wise man and he's taught me many interesting things about business from an aspect that not many people see or understand. So that is coming up this winter, and that will go out in the form of an ebook. Also, I just went in today into a little place in Peterborough. It's called Kawartha TV and Stereo, which is where I got the camera that I'm using right now, the Panasonic, and to see if they had another one, because my backup camera is starting to crash a little bit too often, and so I thought I would turn this into my second camera and maybe buy another one of these. And anyway, they had two more cameras stepped up from this. One was about $1,150. The next jump is about nearly $1,600. But it does have the feature where there is a back film camera lens, so you can actually film yourself narrating as you are pointing the main camera at what you are talking about. And so $1,600, but interestingly enough, in approximately 3 weeks' time, that is going to be reduced by $400. So I am going to get myself a new camera. It will be an upgrade. It is a 4K camera, so this will be a lot greater resolution, and this will become my good second camera. And yes, I'm really looking forward to that early Christmas present. And but I can highly recommend Panasonic. This camera is unbelievable. The Leica lens is unbelievable clarity. The HD is incredibly sharp. The colors are incredibly pure. Panasonic has a real good reputation with their color imaging systems. So yes, that is the Panasonic HCX 920. Comes highly recommended from the Houndog. Anyway, so that is my rambling vlog. I feel in great good health. I feel invigorated. Of course, this is my birthday coming up, so this is my time of year. I love the fall. My energy is just, it's bouncing right now. And so I'm feeling pretty good. Okie dokie, well, this is the Houndog signing off, and you take care. You have yourself a great evening. And I'm now going to edit the other two videos that I made tonight, and we'll see you real soon. Bye now.